I think we need to focus on making sure someone's going to lead this party in the right direction. We'll get in here. We'll hear from all 9. There's a number of good guys. There's a number of those guys that I could support on the floor. But we'll see how it plays out.
Well, you heard him just say 9 there, but just a few hours ago, Congressman Dan Mueser of Pennsylvania dropped out of the race, now leaving 8 congressmen vying for that gavel. Many of those speaker contenders coming to Newsmax in the last few days to tell America why they're the best man for the job.
I've thrown my hat in the ring to run for Speaker of the House. Look, let's be very clear. Our House right now, we're having some issues. We can repair those issues, but it requires us to be unified, number one, go back to business and secure our border, actually fund this government responsibly, and then continue to lay out that conservative vision for the people who sent us here.
Well, I believe I could and believe I can. So, I think what our members of our conference are looking for is somebody that's got a broader depth of leadership, something different.
So I have this experience sitting in Republican leadership for 10 years. Raising millions of dollars for our party and bringing a strong national finance team to our aid. I think I can do that, starting knowing what to do day one.
Of course, we are closely following the developments on the speaker race, and we'll bring you any live updates. We'll also be joined momentarily by a congressman who is in that closed-door meeting and will shed a light on where the GOP stands. An internal conference vote will happen at 9 a.m. tomorrow morning, and Speaker Pro Tem Patrick McHenry said his intentions is to move to a floor vote as soon as Tuesday. Now, as House Republicans work to make a unified decision, Democrats and, of course, their enablers, the fake news, continue to salivate over the disarray.
Republicans keep trying and keep failing to pick a speaker.
Republicans in absolute disarray. After nearly 3 weeks, the House still does not have a speaker, and Jim Jordan has no one to blame but himself.
It's frustrating. Look, it makes me want to cry to think that we are in this moment. We were sent to Congress to govern, to legislate. That House has been closed now for almost 3 weeks.
So dramatic, makes me want to cry. Democrats, as you can see, they're now using this moment to blame Republicans, well, for everything. We know that weakness begets aggression, and no one looks more weak right now than good old Joe Biden, who's now been told to repeat the same tired, ridiculous talking point that it's the Republicans' disagreement in the House that is now putting America in danger.
Does the dysfunction that we've seen in Congress increase the danger in the world?
Yes. Look, this is not your father's Republican Party. 30% of it is made up of these MAGA Republicans who are maybe, democracy is something they don't look at it the same way you and I look at democracy.
It's not your father's Democrat Party either. I mean, he's grasping at straws, clearly devoid of any reality. In this time of strife all over the world and in the country, strong leadership is needed now more than ever. Yet this was President Biden today.
And I want to thank Majority Leader Chuck Schumer and Senator Todd Young and Representative Joe Morelli and Susan Wild for their work to make this happen.
Always confused. And now as Biden becomes weaker by the day, the war in the Middle East, it rages on. A ground invasion into Gaza is now imminent. And as hope, though, remains strong that those kidnapped will be saved. Today, Hamas released 2 elderly Israeli women that were being held hostage. Reportedly, the Red Cross is also efforting the rescue of about 50 people who were also kidnapped by Hamas, and all of them have dual citizenship. Meantime, according to several U.S. officials, the Biden administration has advised Israel to delay a ground invasion of Gaza to buy time for hostage negotiations and allow for more humanitarian aid to reach Palestinian civilians. But how will Biden prevent Hamas, who controls the region, and their terrorists, from getting their hands on the $100 million in aid? And how do Democrats not see that all of this would happen? You see, all of this chaos, all of this carnage is a direct result of Joe Biden's failed policies. We said this would happen, but Democrats were more concerned about mean tweets. In order to be a terrorist, think about it. You need, of course, monstrous maniacs. Okay, check. But they're willing to die for their ideology. Check. But you also need equipment, weapons, supplies, training, and all of that costs money, lots of it. And the person who enabled Hamas to get their hands on a lot of money, all that money necessary, is none other than Joe Biden, thanks to his war on fossil fuels.
Strongly support no more fossil fuel drilling, period, on public lands, and particularly offshore, period. None. No more permits. And by the way, no more drilling on federal lands, period. Period. I said I would not do any new leases on federal land. 90% of the leases are not on federal land. Number one, no more subsidies for fossil fuel industry. No more drilling on federal lands. No more drilling, including offshore. No ability for the oil industry to continue to drill, period. Ends. Number one.
It's clearly the one campaign promise that he's intent on keeping. You see, oil, it's a commodity. It's money. Yet on Biden's first day in office, he canceled vital infrastructure projects like the Keystone Oil Pipeline. He also issued stricter guidelines on fossil fuel production in an effort to strangle the oil industry out of existence. And even though we need oil for everything from transportation to heating, and we're also seeing the devastating effects of his Green New hoax on the American economy with the cost of everything going up, from gas to groceries, Biden's team just announced that over the next 5 years, potential oil and gas lease sales on federal territory will be now the fewest in history, with just 3. Yes, 3. So as our oil output dwindles, who is filling the gap? Iran. Yep, Iran. Couple that with the fact that the Biden administration refuses to enforce oil sanctions against Iran. All of that equals to a lot of mullah for the mullahs. Just how much? $70 billion a year, according to a Daily Signal report. Now, when President Trump was in office, Iran was making about $6 billion a year on oil sales, because back then we were energy independent, and Trump's administration actually enforced sanctions on Iran. But now Iran is selling above 2 million barrels a day. When Trump was in office, it was about 200,000 a day. Big difference. Huge. That's a whole lot of money for Iran to do whatever it wants. Adding to all of this, Biden also just lifted oil sanctions on Venezuela, which coincidentally is an ally of Iran. So yes, we need House Republicans to come together and elect a speaker, because most importantly, we need them to stop, or at least slow down, the damage Joe Biden is doing to America and the world.